What do IT professionals actually do day to day? My name's Jake. I work Tier 1 help desk support at an MSP, and today I'm going to take you through my yesterday's day. Every ticket I did, there are 13 in total, so you can see what do you actually do in the job when you work in IT. This is something that I would have wanted to see before I started, so I hope you find it useful. Let's get into it. Firstly, if you don't know what an MSP is, it stands for Managed Service Provider. I work for a company that gives IT services to a bunch of other different companies. And we focus mostly on financial institutions, real estate, lawyers, stuff like that. One quick caveat before I get into the tickets: do not listen to Reddit when you're thinking about starting working for an MSP. It's been an amazing experience for me. You can learn so much. You get exposure to so many different technologies. This has been my experience. Obviously, your mileage may vary. Also, I'm very fortunate. There are 3 teams on our Tier 1. It's kind of a big MSP, and I'm on the team that gets the least calls. I get to do more like monitoring, maintenance, and helping other people. I still do get calls, but just not constantly throughout the day. However, I do reach out to clients as needed, which is pretty often, so I'm making a lot of calls throughout the day. Okay, so here are the tickets that I worked yesterday. I worked 8 to 4, and all in all, I put in 4.5 hours actually working on tickets. This is actually a pretty high number in terms of our Tier 1 standard. Generally, it's quite low. The first ticket I did is one where a lady was having an error message come up when she turned her PC on from time to time. It was showing that there was 2 docking stations. Anytime something like this happens, the first thing we're looking for is the device up to date? Her device was way out of date and needed about 15,000 updates, including Dell firmware updates. So over the last couple days, I've just been monitoring this, making sure updates go through. You have to restart it multiple times. I don't want to do it while she's at work, so I do it in the morning before she gets into work, or in the afternoon after she leaves for work. And so yesterday I was just checking in on her. Fortunately, checked the device. It is up to date, and she didn't get the message today. It'll be kind of wait and see, and I'll probably close that ticket on Monday. Secondly, I had 2 phishing tickets. Really, it was 3, but 2 of them were from the same person, and they kind of got combined. So the first one was a Dropbox phishing email that I did confirm as a phishing email. In order to investigate that, we look at things like the source IP, SPF, DMARC, DKIM, which you learn about in Security Plus. Kind of cool to be able to see that in action. Checking that IP in Cisco Talos, grabbing all the links and attachments, if there are links and attachments, throwing those into VirusTotal and seeing, is this a malicious link? Turned out it was a malicious link, or at least a phishing link. And so I just confirmed to him, we blocked the sender, we report it to phishing for Microsoft, so it filters it out better next time, and then close, on the way. The second one was actually a really interesting phishing ticket because this guy had 2 people who were kind of spoofing another email, and he noticed that the email was 1 letter off from the other email, which amazing work by an end user to realize that. And they were acting like someone else, trying to get a wire transfer to go through. Confirmed it was phishing again, same process. Unfortunately with phishing, all you can do is block the sender and report it as phishing and hope that Microsoft notices it next time. It did give the message that was, you don't usually get messages from these people. So, Microsoft did well there as well, but that was a really fun ticket. I actually called him and discussed it with him and told him how amazing of a job he did and closed the ticket. So the third ticket I touched was an AdSync password hash synchronization ticket, which basically means that Active Directory wasn't syncing to Entra ID, hadn't done it in like 45 hours, 46 hours. And so I checked why is it that this was happening, did some research into the error, using Google, ChatGPT, Microsoft documentation, probably spent like a half an hour researching. I got into Entra and found where it showed that it wasn't syncing and kind of why. And unfortunately, then I just had to escalate the ticket. At Tier 1, at an MSP, there are many times that you get to a point on a ticket and you just have to escalate it. And it's kind of a pain, but it works. My fourth ticket was an easy one. It's a printer ticket. We get tons of printer tickets as well. Printers are worst enemies, but also kind of fun because they're like puzzles. You get to try and figure stuff out. But so I had to mount this printer by IP address under the admin account of someone's device. They were getting an error that was a driver's error, but when I mounted it by IP address, it didn't give me any error. So I mounted it and told her, yeah, log in, try and see if you can mount it by IP address. She was in a meeting, and so I'll check back with her on Monday. That was pretty easy. Fifth was a Cisco phone line, adding her extension to a group. That was actually an interesting ticket because it uses Cisco's, I think it's called Unified Management Call Manager or something like that, where we had to really had to do a lot of research with a T2. I think this took like half an hour looking into how to get her line actually added to that group and then confirming that it actually worked. Cisco's stuff was super confusing. They had like hunt lists, routing lists, groups, and none of the names showed up until you actually clicked search, even though it was like showed up as blank. You just click search with blank and then the names would show up. But that was kind kind of cool. And we verified that it worked and, you know, honky dory, and made a KB about it as well. So now in the future, people will know how to do that. Number 6, I helped a colleague add 2 laptops to a domain, Windows 11. Adding to a domain with Windows 11 is not super fun, but we were able to do it. So that was cool. Used admin creds. It was kind of easy. Number 7, I was trying to locate a device that had not patched. When we have devices that don't patch for a certain amount of time, we have to try and track them down, reach out to the primary contact, figure out if we can get them on the network and get them patched. Doing things like checking the remote monitoring agent, the local IP, pinging that from the domain controller. If it pings fine, that means that the device might be up, or the IP was just given to something else. We will also hop into the domain controller and try searching the file system by device name, especially if that IP doesn't work. Sometimes we'll try RDPing in, but none of this stuff worked for this ticket. So it was like 15 minutes of pinging around, trying to find it, realizing like it's just not on the network. It's been shut off. So reach out to the primary contact, wait back until they get that on the network. Then I get to hop in and make sure everything gets pushed through and everything's up to date, everything's installed correctly. 8 was a ticket that I had actually worked on 2 hours the day before, because it was a printer that had moved offices and the IP information had changed. And so we had to give it a DHCP IP address and then change that to static. And it was under a new subnet, and we had to make sure all the cables were, it was a crazy ticket. But the printer wasn't working this morning, but it was simply because we did everything under the admin account and the lady who logged in didn't have it mounted from the file server. So I mounted it from the file server. Everything worked fine. So confirmed that. Probably half an hour talking with her. She was super nice. Everything worked. Printed test pages and it worked. So thankful. Number 9 was another printer ticket. I had a colleague who was on site and had a duplexer that was like jammed or not working. It looked like one of the parts was bent, and I literally just advised him on steps to take for troubleshooting that and reaching out to HP. Very easy. Number 10 was another very easy ticket. They wanted someone added to a domain admins group. I had to make sure I get proper approvals from people internally in the company to add that person to the domain admins group. Obviously that's pretty important for audits and stuff like that, but we got the permission, we added her. Very easy. My 11th ticket that I touched on Friday, and this is all in one day, was an Adobe ticket. Adobe was giving some problems, hitching, crashing. Adobe does this all the time. So the first thing we do, we go into Windows, we run a repair on Adobe. They have like a wizard that you can just run a repair. Didn't work. After that, reinstall Adobe, get rid of the whole thing, uninstall it, and then reinstall it from the website. That usually works to alleviate problems. I've had once where we had to re-image the entire PC and try from there. I think that one's good. The lady hasn't gotten back to me. So we reinstalled Adobe and hopefully that solves things. Wait and see again. It's his ticket. I was just helping him out. Number 12, I had to set up 2 new users in Active Directory. We have a user that we copy from. That's usually the easiest way to do it because you get group membership copied over as well. Copied both users, got them set up, checked Microsoft 365 licensing. This company didn't have any licenses left. Reached out to the contact, and it turns out that the last few people that were terminated hadn't had their license removed. So I discussed what we're going to do with their mailboxes with him. It's always best when someone gets removed to make it a shared mailbox and get it with somebody so that if someone's sending them emails, it still goes somewhere. If you don't do that, the mailbox just stays alive for 30 days and then just disappears permanently. Got their mailbox stuff figured out, took the licenses away from the people who were terminated, who were not at the company anymore, and then allocated them to the new people. I'm still just waiting back on him if he needs anything else. Set up a temp password, sent it to him. And then the last ticket that I got was kind of an interesting one. This guy was getting emails that his Outlook wasn't syncing something correctly. There was a ton of information in the syncing error emails, and it turned out to be a calendar. It could be a permissions thing. It could be something else. I called him and left a voicemail, and he just didn't get back to me. It was Friday, so I don't really blame him either. And it also wasn't like a super urgent thing. It was just like, hey, I'm getting these emails and it's showing that it's not syncing correctly. You know, what should I do? So I'm going to call him and just peek around, see what's going on, use ChatGPT. All throughout my day, I'm using Google, Microsoft, and ChatGPT to help me solve everything. Some things I've already seen a gazillion times, so I know what to do, but still always referring to that stuff, especially with like the mailbox stuff. I wanted to know if the mailbox is converted to a shared mailbox, it's good. But what if a forwarding rule is set up? Then is the mailbox good? It turns out it's not. I learned that on Friday. So I'm learning all this new stuff every single day. Those were the tickets that I saw just on Friday. I could do this every single day, and there'd probably be like 10 different tickets every single day. You'll see some trends though. Printers come up often because printers are always giving problems. So that's a day in the life. It was relatively busy, but it was also chill because nothing went drastically wrong with that day. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more like this, like what I'm doing in my day-to-day, let me know. I'll be happy to share more. My days vary a lot, but today I could see a bunch of different problems, and it was really nice to get that variation. And you could see working in an MSP, no 2 days are the same. Always doing different kind of stuff. It's always different clients and they have different problems. So it's really fun. Well, I would have liked to watch this video before I started in IT. Again, I hope it's been useful to you. Appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of your day. See you in the next one.